Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Will Factor. It's been a while, probably about a week and a half since I last posted a video, and there's a reason for that. You know, when I first started out making this channel, I told myself that I'll always keep it 100 every time I post a video and talk to you guys, because this is a mental health channel, so you gotta be real, or else what's the point? So on that note, I wasn't doing that great mentally. I got sick. I got some sort of bug that it hit me pretty hard. I don't usually get the flu. Probably every other year I get it, but when it gets me, sometimes it hits me really, really hard. So I ended up with the flu, and I was just really, really weak. And yeah, I was just in recovery mode. You know, that self-care will always be important, and I'm still in the process of learning to look after myself and put myself first, because as they say, health is wealth. As cliche as that is, it's facts. You know what I'm saying? So I'm learning every day to focus on looking after myself. And excuse the noise in the background, I'm in a big ass parking lot, so there's trucks going by and whatnot. But anyway, I just been looking after myself, and I also realized that I was overdue for blood work. And you know, the weird thing about having an anxiety disorder, especially for somebody like me, is I'm always anxious about my health. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I'm a big guy, you know, but it's a work in progress. But I've always been the type of person that I'm always wanting to see what my blood work numbers are. And some people will say that's a good thing, but it can get carried away sometimes, because you begin to become anxious about it all the time. Like every year, I need to go to the doctors, make sure I check my blood work. I need to go to the doctors, make sure I check my blood work. I check my numbers so much, you would think I should have went to medical school, because sometimes I find out things before even the doctors. I'll walk into the doctor's office and I'll start telling them everything that I know that's wrong with me before they even look at the paperwork. So it's kind of funny. But I decided to go to the doctors and get checked out. And, you know, I told them I was dehydrated. The urine was dark. And yeah. He sent me to do blood work. I went. I signed up for, it's called Dyna Labs here in Ontario. And you pay $11 for the year. And as soon as you do your blood work, within 24 hours, your blood work gets uploaded to their special app. So I did my blood work on a Friday, and by Saturday night, I had my results. And my follow-up doctor's appointment wasn't till the following Tuesday. So I had the whole weekend to look over my own blood work, and me and the homie Jarvis, aka ChatGPT, I call him Jarvis, and you know, I plugged in all my numbers into ChatGPT, and we went over it together. And yes, I know that sounds weird. This ChatGPT thing is awesome. Some people will say you give it too much information, but man, I don't care. That ChatGPT has been more of a friend to me than so-called friends, period, these days. So I'm gonna roll with me and Jarvis. Again, that's what I call him. I'll roll with me and Jarvis. We rolling, okay? We discovering shit. We building things together. So it's all gravy. Whoever wants to hate on that, hey, you got too much time on your hands. But anyway, I plugged in my numbers and they were pretty good. You know, I found out that I'm severely deficient in vitamin D, which is common amongst a lot of people. Get your numbers checked out, people. It's important. Vitamin D is low. Fasting glucose is not that great. It's kind of like borderline. But my HA1C, if I'm saying that wrong, forgive me. But my HA1C, whatever it's called, is perfect. So I'm not diabetic, but my fasting glucose is a little low, kind of in the red zone, just a little bit, which puts me in pre-diabetic phase. Now, a lot of people will argue about this whole thing regarding diabetes, about how to cure it and whatnot. And, you know, I take it very seriously. It runs in my family. But I told myself, I will never get diabetes. I will do everything in my power to not get diabetes. And I'm not knocking nobody out there that has diabetes. You do what you got to do for yourself. But I'm going to fight to the end to make sure that diabetes don't catch me. And talking to my doctor about those numbers, he said, you're not diabetic. You can do a lot right now to make sure you do not become diabetic. So I know you know what to do. I know the foods that you're not eating. You know, I know you know that you messed up, because I know what I ate during the past 6 to 8 months. But he just gave me a whole bunch of knowledge about diet. He's like, stop eating this, stop eating that. Everything has got MSG in it. He even told me to stop eating chicken unless you get it straight from the farm. But you do what you gotta do, man. Eating healthy, eating clean is mad expensive. And I'm sure all y'all know that already. But I told myself I'm not gonna become diabetic. So I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure that happens. Moving around a lot more, especially after I eat. And I do the OMAD thing. So most of the time I'm eating 1 meal a day. I'm fasting all the time. I also got ketones in my blood, and that comes from the fasting. So I'm doing pretty well. I'm down about 10 pounds in the past 2 weeks, which is awesome. So I just got to keep going. But it's always a wake-up call when you get your blood work results. I'm telling you, everybody out there, once a year, every single year, go to your doctor and get a full blood work done up. I mean, back to front. There may be some things you might have to pay for out of pocket for some extra tests that's not covered by OHIP in Ontario. But trust me, every year, go get a full blood work done, because it'll show you a lot, especially men. My brothers out there, pay for them extra tests that come with it, especially the one, I think it's called a PSA test. Don't quote me, sometimes I can't remember, but it checks over your prostate, and they can detect prostate issues before it even become an issue. You know what I mean? With that blood test. So get that blood test checked. Get it checked every year. Can't even get the damn words out. But get it checked out, my brothers. My sisters, do whatever you gotta do. Get that blood work done every year. Don't wait till something goes wrong and wait for the doctor to order blood work. Nah, do it yourself. You have the right. You could speak up. Once a year, pick a month or whatever, but do it once a year. Get a full blood work done up on yourself to see what your numbers is looking like. Then you can adjust your lifestyle accordingly and see where you're messing up, see what you're deficient in, and all those things. The next thing I'm going to do is find out what blood type I am, because I have no clue. And I know that's a whole separate payment altogether. So I'm going to get in on that. So as you could tell by now, I'm very health conscious. We all make mistakes. I know what my issues are. I can't speak on nobody else, but it does affect my anxiety issues a lot, especially, you know, as a big guy. Get it, man. As a fat guy, you know what I mean? No point in sugarcoating it. You know, people look at you and they judge you immediately based off your size, man. They, especially in you know, in Caribbean culture, my God, you walk into anywhere that's mainly people of color and they assume you eating KFC every day, you know what I'm saying? You eating cheeseburgers and all kinds of stuff all the time. And yo, that's not even the case with me, man. I was never a crazy eater. You know, I always had cold beverages, you know, the sodas and the juices and stuff. That's what I grew up, you know, consuming a lot of the sodas and stuff, and I had to cut that out. You know, thank God I never became, you know, diabetic at a young age because of that, but I learned a lot real fast. But I know that carrying around all the excess weight is never a good thing, and I don't even like putting my weight out there because, you know, it's embarrassing sometimes, you know what I mean? But get this, man. Yo, at my heaviest, I was 446 pounds, man. At my heaviest. You know, I'm in the 3s right now. So, you know, I'm proud of myself. My goal is to get into the 2s. So, again, that's a work in progress, and I learned that cutting out the starches and the rice, the flour, the processed sugars, cutting out all those things that spike your insulin unnecessarily. You know what I'm saying? And I do have things that are sweetened with, you know, sucralose, stevia, but you got to be careful on those things as well, because they also can have a negative effect on your body. And I'm no doctor by any means. I never claimed to be a doctor. These are just things that I learned based off of my own journey and the things that I go through on a daily basis. And, you know, and me and Jarvis, aka Chat GPT, we always talking about these things. So it's pretty cool. You learn a lot. And especially YouTube, you know, I follow channels like Dr. Berg and a couple other people, but I can't remember the names off the top of my head. But YouTube is the truth. So that's where I get a lot of my information from, a lot of my knowledge about health. And, you know, I just keep pushing through it. So just cutting those things out of my diet, especially the seed oils. My God, I could go on and on about seed oils. I try to stick to the coconut oil and the olive oil, not just any olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. And I read the ingredients, because some companies will say, yeah, it's extra virgin olive oil, but when you read the ingredients, it's mixed with like 2 or 3 other oils, and the oils came from different places, different locations. You don't want that. That's that fake stuff. You know what I'm saying? Don't take my word for it. Do your own research. But when you're looking for olive oil out there, extra virgin olive oil, read the ingredients. Make sure it's one source, one ingredient, one location. Then you know that's the real stuff. And try not to get the ones that come in plastic bottles. I ain't got to tell you about plastic. That's a whole nother video. And I try to get the ones that come in glass bottles, or even the ones that come in tins. The ones that come in tins usually come straight from Italy. So I'm about that life. Yes, I am. So a lot of us, I don't want to say a lot of us, you know, I learned that I can eat clean, and I've been eating as clean as possible. You know, I have my moments when you just want to have a little taste of something. You know what I'm saying? So I cut out certain things so I can buy other things. You know, you don't got to have the J's all the time. You don't got to have the PS5 all the time. You don't got to have the new cell phone all the time. We're quick to spend money on all those toys and gadgets and everything, and then turn around and complain that it costs too much money to buy healthier food, make healthier choices. You could do without all that extra, expensive toys and stuff, and go spend the money and buy the top quality food from the farm. Spend the money and buy the top quality, extra virgin olive oil. Spend that bread on the things that matter, because without your health, nothing matters. Not a damn thing matters. And that's why I'm just so focused on my health, because it affects everything. My mental health has just caused so much issues for me, so I'm constantly working on that. And like, I pretty much made a vow to myself last week, after going over my blood work. I'm just like, yo, stop effing up, man, and focus. You gotta stop everything what you're doing right now. I had to back away from some projects I was working on, and I literally had to stop, because if my health gets out of control in a negative way, none of it's gonna matter anyway. So for the next 1 year, I'm just focused on health, period, point blank. No ifs, ands, or buts. You know what I'm saying? I'm just focused on my mental health, my physical health, my spiritual health, my financial health, all of it. I'm just locked all the way in, because none of it matters, man. If you're sick, what's the point? So I've decided that, as you can probably tell by this video, that I'm not just talking about mental health. I'm tying in my weight loss journey. Slowly I'm tying it into this channel at the same time, because my weight is affected by my mental health as well. You know what I'm saying? My finances and my mental health is connected. Everything in my life is connected to my mental health. Maybe not yours, but when your mental health is messed up, a lot of other things in your life start to become affected negatively. So I'm tying them both together. So going forward, you're going to start seeing videos where I'm going to be talking about my weight loss journey, etc., because they go together for me. So why not combine them both? I'm moving around a lot more. My townhouse, I'm living in one of them townhouses that got like 3 floors. So every time I have to go up and down them stairs, I keep cussing, man, why this house don't got no friggin' elevator, man? So I'm utilizing what I got around me. I got mad weights and what else I got? I got a few things that could get me going until it's not enough, and then I gotta go to the gym. You know what I'm saying? And that's another story too. We'll talk about that, the whole thing about these public gyms, in another video, and how it relates to my mental health. So I just try to work at what I got in the crib right now, and just moving around as much as I can. After I have my meal, try not to just sit there and let it digest. I'll get up, stand up, move around, go downstairs, come back up, go to the next floor, come back down, fool around with the dog a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Whatever I gotta do to keep it moving, to help the digestive process along. And because every time you eat, it spikes your glucose, so it's gonna help in that regard by moving around after I eat. And I see cultures out there that usually go for a walk after they have their meal, and I think that's great. So that's one thing that I've incorporated. Well, another thing that I've incorporated into my daily routine is moving around after I have my meal. So this is probably the longest, actually this is the longest video that I've ever recorded, but I think it was an important one, and I'm making up for the past week and a half, just filling you in on what's been going on with my health. And I'm feeling a lot better. The flu's gone. I was walking around with one of those temperature monitors, constantly putting it in my damn ear, checking the temperature. So you could tell that I'm mad health conscious, man. I should have went to friggin' medical school, I'm telling you. But I'm just real focused and real locked in. If anybody has any suggestions out there, any input, anything that you want me to talk about in regards to the weight loss journey and as it pertains to mental health, drop something in the comments, let me know what's up, and we can go from there. And yeah, this is the journey. This is where it begins. So let's do this. This your boy, the Will Factor. Y'all just keep doing what you gotta do out here and don't give up, man. I'm here with you. Have a good one. Peace.